Greetings YouTube, it's the Brain Damaged Gamer here, and I have some more BDG news for everyone. We are going to be covering a couple of different topics today, but it's primarily gaming news, as you're used to me covering. Alright, first thing I did want to do a quick address on, this is actually the second time I filmed this episode, so some of this is going to be a little bit delayed from when I initially tried to film it. Apparently my audio for the recording just ate itself for some reason, and I was left with just the camera audio. So the first thing I wanted to cover was EA had released two major shooter games in this past couple of weeks. They've released Titanfall 2 and Battlefield 1. Since then, they've started having on and off server issues. More than a few people have commented on it and noticed it, myself included, that they are having constant issues keeping Origin online for PC. I'm not sure about the other markets, but I have heard that there have been problems from some people I know that use the PS4 as well. A lot of this people are pointing at and saying is probably because they released two major multiplayer online shooters back to back. So the market has kind of been saturated with this constant need for their network. And it's quite possible that could be where a large portion of their problems are coming from. Also in EA news, they've had a bit of a problem with Twitter in the past couple of weeks. First, they had a tweet that they did about Battlefield 1 where they were saying, hey, you know, it's cool to be doing World War I things for the weekend. And talking about how hot it was in the club, and then they have a gif of a guy mowing people down with a flamethrower and all of them catching on fire, just kind of making light of it. The general reaction wasn't exactly positive for that, and then they removed the tweet and apologized for the tweet, and then there was another backlash for people saying, why are you apologizing? Just stick with what you originally did. I'm kind of mixed on this. On the one hand, I can understand, you know, the horrors of war are not something to make light of. Having been in combat zones myself, I understand that it can be traumatic for some people, and it can be something that's hard to deal with. On the flip side, the game is about shooting people, so it's kind of a weird spot to be in my opinion. Did they need to necessarily apologize for it? I don't know. Was deleting it the wrong thing to do? Deleting it may have been the right idea. Apologizing, not 100% sure if they should have done that. That kind of admitted that by talking about it, they were making it more of a problem than it may have originally been. I don't know. What's your opinion? Leave me a comment down below if you have an opinion on this. What do you think? Do you think that it was a bad idea for them to go ahead and delete it, or should they have just left it up, period? Following that, they also had another tweet this last week that kind of upset some of their actual developers. They did a tweet about the two major shooters that are kind of directly competing for each other, Call of Duty and Titanfall 2, where it's very similar type gameplay styles for a large portion of the individual people shooting at each other. Obviously, Titanfall has the Titans, so that does make it a little bit different, but when you're talking about just people on the ground running around shooting at each other, very similar concepts of gameplay as far as, you know, wall jumping and double jumps and all the crazy stuff that you can do in those two games. Now, the problem with the tweet that they sent out was, and here's a quote, this is a hard tweet to read because it's even poorly worded. One is mostly slow and plodding, while the other's frantic precision is electrifying. You decide. And then they have a link, and they have hashtag make the right call. Now, the implication was that Call of Duty is not fun to play, and it's slow and plodding. So, pretty much directly poking at Infinity Ward. The problem with this is, this was done with the Titanfall account. Now, Respawn is primarily made up of people who came from Infinity Ward. On the Respawn Twitter account, they actually popped up and said, hey, just as a reminder, this is what we, the developers, are officially tweeting here. And that they have nothing but respect for fellow developers. And just kind of left it at that. The implication being, hey, we probably still have friends over there, and we know people that work over at this other office. Don't be mean to them. I know Bob. Bob's my friend. Why would you be mad at Bob? You know what? Me and Sue used to talk all the time. Why are you treating Sue like crap? That's not very nice. That's the general tone I got from that, is EA was just kind of being jerks. Sorry about that. It's a very EA move to make, to be perfectly honest, so I don't think anyone's truly surprised to find out that the developers had nothing to do with the original tweet. Moving on to other news that's less awkward. Diablo 3 is going to be getting the Necromancer. It's going to be part of an upcoming character pack that's going to be released. They haven't given us any of the specifics, just next year, no real price point. They have indicated that it is going to have the Necromancer as well as a couple of additional character slots and some cosmetic things. So it is going to be more expansion upon Diablo 3, which is interesting because if you look at the original Diablo 3 when it came out versus the Diablo 3 that exists now, it's changed so significantly you could almost be forgiven in thinking that it's a different game. The overall graphic style is more or less the same. There's modifications that's occurred, obviously, but nothing crazy. But as far as how the game itself plays, huge sweeping changes have been occurring. And a lot of people are wondering if the Necromancer and this individual character pack is going to be a new concept that they're pushing forward as far as individual character packs and these little updates, as opposed to, huge, hey, this patch changes everything sort of changes that they have been doing. It's an interesting place to be, and I'm curious to see what else they're going to do with it as well. And this was some of the news I was planning on covering earlier. Skyrim Special Edition was released, and outside of giving the game 64-bit support, it also was supposed to increase the overall graphics appearance of the game, retexturing some areas, improving the overall quality. Things that if you were playing on PC anyway, you already had mods doing, but it does look a little bit better than the original. It does play significantly better now it's running in 64-bit. The big thing that a large number of people have not noticed even is they may already have a copy. If you have Steam, or from what I've been told, some of the other markets where you may have digitally purchased a copy of this, go check to make sure that they didn't give you a free copy, because you may have already had the previous game and some of the DLC, and if you hit the right trigger level, which was supposed to be all of it, then you would have got a free copy within your library. I know more than a few people that didn't have all the DLC, but somehow or other still ended up with a free copy of the special edition. It's worth checking out, and I have a copy of it and didn't realize it until I was looking through and was like, why do I have another edition of Skyrim in here? And then went and looked online to find out that apparently it just happened. So go take a look. Who knows what you might find. The latest EVE Online trailer, if you are interested in Excel worksheet simulation, then EVE has indicated that they're going to be switching over to a free-to-play model. And the countdown has started, indicating that on November 15th is when they're going to go free-to-play. I did play EVE for a little bit. I didn't like the fact that I basically was paying $15 a month, and I couldn't play a large number of the things I wanted to play because I had to wait for counters. Me personally, if I'm paying to play a game, I want to be able to sit down and just play it. But with the training that I was wanting to do, I was like, well, I want to get the ship, but I can't really do anything in this area until I get my ship to this level, and unfortunately I have to level this skill in order to be able to use the ship, and I might still get jumped by people if I go through this area because my skill's not high enough in this for this particular piece of equipment to help defend myself. It literally became, all right, I need to get all these skills planned and then run all the counters for them because they train up in real time and then come back to it. Now, if their free-to-play model allows for you to just basically run those skill points and constantly have the upgrades going, a lot of people might go back to it and take a look at it. But during my time with EVE Online, I did do what pretty much everyone else had done at some point in time. I started a small company. Me and a few friends were in it. A friend of a friend got invited. Within a month, they had stolen all of the money that the company had in their bank account. I can say that I did enjoy that, and then about after that point, it was still funny. I played for about another month or two, and I was kind of like, that was the most interesting thing that happened to us, was getting robbed. And after that, I was just bored, which is why I go to, and whenever I want to do any form of space sim, I go to my default now, which is Elite Dangerous, and have quite a bit of fun with Elite Dangerous, as opposed to watching stat counters go up and, hey, did you know in 2 days and 25 minutes you'll be able to use this gun now? I just work for it, get the money, then put the gun on my ship now. Who knows? I might still take a peek at EVE Online. I'm not 100% sold on the idea of it, though, to be perfectly honest. What do you think? Are you going to take a look at EVE now that they're talking about free-to-play here on the 15th? It's worth checking out. Maybe. No? Maybe not. Who knows? But speaking of Elite Dangerous, the latest trailer that they had in The Guardians had just a couple of interesting things in there. They had all these odd artifacts and what looked like ruins. And a lot of players were very curious what that was, and speculation started running wild about, hey, Thargods, maybe, who knows, it's something. How do we find it? One intrepid user went and actually looked up the information and calculated, based upon the configuration of constellations and the stars, roughly where they were when that trailer was being shot. This same individual then used the alignment of the planets to figure out which planet they were on, and proceeded to use all of the spots on the various markings for craters and other landscape objects to figure out the exact location and actually track down this artifact and these ruins. Now, since then, people have been going there and attempting to figure out exactly what is going on with all of these ruins. Apparently, if you go into third-person camera mode, you can clip through some of the walls, and you can see underground there's moving parts, and people are trying to figure out if there's anything involved with the writing or any noises going around. But this is something I'm definitely going to keep track of, and I'll keep everyone updated if there is any new changes to this. But as one final note for Elite Dangerous, I am planning on getting my Elite series of Starter's Guide up and running here within hopefully the next week or so, depending upon time allowed for editing. The shooting for this, it's a pretty big project. If you've seen my Starter's Guide, a lot of people that watch my stuff came here because of my Elite Dangerous Starter's Guide series. I am working on that update still. I have new equipment. I've got all sorts of stuff that's complete. I don't think I have anything outside of a couple of core pieces of my computer that are the original parts at this point that I'm filming with. So I feel that it's time to update that. And just as a quick channel note, that is what's happening now. It is a intensive project. A lot of people don't realize that when I shot those original videos, I did so over the course of close to a month in order to get them all arranged and properly set up so they actually look decent. It's a lot of hours of filming and then a lot of hours of editing now. So it's going to be a bit of a project, but I would like to get a little feedback from the community. Would you like to see all these released at once? Or what do you guys think? Replace them one at a time? Because I've kind of gone back and forth. Because I could go ahead and get like the first 1 or 2 videos up without any problem, other than the initial upload time. Or I could wait and just do the whole series all at once again, which is similar to how I did it in the past. I just bump all of them pretty much as quickly as I could upload them once they were completed. But give me that feedback. I want to know what the community thinks about that. All right, everyone, that's all we had for news today. I would like to thank everyone for watching. If you like this kind of content, feel free to go ahead and hit like. Leave a comment down below if there's anything you wanted to know about in regards to any of the subjects that I went over. Or if you wanted to just discuss some of the opinions or pieces that I went over. If you would like to see more of my other content, I have plenty of that coming out in the upcoming days and weeks, so stay tuned. Thanks again for watching, and as always, I am the Brain Damage Gamer, and game on.